What's going on, boys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm going to mix it up from my usual content and do more of a PowerPoint style video for my visual learners out there. And if I get good feedback on this style of video, I'll make it a recurring segment that we do every once in a while. Obviously, as you can tell by the title, we're going to be going over why you should become fit, dangerous, and rich. And I'm also going to be going over how you can obtain these traits. So let's get right into it. You might be asking yourself why I have a bit of a controversial figure, depending on who you ask, of course, on the front of this slideshow. But whether you love him or hate him, you can't deny the fact that he's accomplished all three things on this list and at the highest level. Some of you may or may not know this, but a long time ago he was on a show called Big Brother. And if you go back and look at the photos of him and the clips of him, he looks like a scrawny, nerdy looking guy. But fast forward a decade or 2 decades later, and now everybody recognizes him as the top G, or by what color is your Bugatti, or as a 4-time world champion kickboxer. And that's because he's recognized something that most people overlook, and that's that most men in today's society are very average, and being a high achieving male is a very rare thing to come by. Not only other men, but women as well can respect a high achieving male because most people, well, hopefully most people, understand what it takes to achieve true masculine excellence. But without further ado, let's get into why you should achieve these things and how. If you've never read the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, I suggest you do so. And the reason why I say that is because this quote right here is actually by James Clear himself. Move the body first and the mind will follow. And I resonate with that quote so much because the first thing that I did to start and to kick off my self-growth journey was getting in good shape. So if you know you want to do something but you just don't know what you want to do, I suggest you get up right now, go to your closest gym, local gym. Memberships can be as cheap as like $10 a month nowadays. And just start going to the gym. Because when you get in good shape, obviously the number one thing you're going to learn is discipline. And that's going to end up helping you in every other aspect of your life as well, like business, relationships, whatever it is. I equate a lot of my success to getting in good shape because discipline is a byproduct of without it, it'll never happen. And right beneath discipline, we have confidence. You'll gain confidence especially as your body starts changing and you put on muscle mass, like when you wear tighter fitting shirts, or when you're by the pool and you're looking absolutely diced. Now for this next one, I touch on this a lot in other videos, but you'll also learn delayed gratification because for the first couple of months, you're not gonna see any progress in the gym. You just have to know eventually you will and trust the process. And obviously, being in good shape is a rare commodity, especially nowadays, with obesity at its highest level of all time. And you may have saw this statistic on Instagram, but did you know that there are more millionaires than there are people with abs? It's absolutely mind-blowing. And the last but definitely not least thing you will learn while getting in good shape, and something that I always preach, is the gym will force you to have a good routine because the act of getting in good shape is a very regimented process. Now that we've covered why you should get fit, which most people should know that already, let's get into how you can actually get fit. I've had so many mixed reviews about lifting 6 days a week from a bunch of social media scientists, but I always preach 6 days a week, especially in the beginning, because of the simple saying that I've mentioned before, that it takes 21 days to start a habit in 90 days to start a lifestyle. And to stay disciplined, that's what it takes. And for all you questioning this, ask yourself a question. Would you rather go to the gym too much or too little? I think the answer to that question is simple. Next step is a calorie surplus if you're skinny, or a calorie deficit if you're overweight. This diet has taught me so much, and it was the simplest and easiest diet to start with. Because you can eat whatever you want as long as you don't break your calorie goal if you're in a deficit, or you can dirty bulk and eat as much as you can if you're in a calorie surplus. Doing this diet and staying disciplined with it allowed me to eventually do a more strenuous diet and not fail miserably because I had the right mental systems in place. Obviously for this next one, lifting till failure or progressive overload, whatever you want to call it, it's always going to help you put on muscle mass, but it's not essential in the beginning, especially if you're going 6 days a week, because you may just be extremely sore all the time. It's more for once you hit a plateau and you feel like you're not gaining any strength in the gym or any more muscle mass. Forcing your muscles to grow will eventually break you out of that plateau. Recovery is very important, and obviously not everybody has a cold plunge on hand or a sauna, but if you don't have those things, you can still get sufficient sleep, you can still hit your protein goals, and just by simply resting when you're not working out, and when you're working out, go super hard. And the last and most important thing is just stay consistent. It doesn't matter if you miss a couple days here and there, but you just don't want to string together a bunch of bad momentum, like staying out of the gym too long or not staying on your diet like you're supposed to be. But if you do slip up here and there, don't beat yourself up too bad. Just get right back to it, because the future you will wish present you stayed consistent. Now let's move on to why you should become dangerous. Now when I say this, take it lightly. I don't mean become a bully or start picking on people for no reason. I mean it in the sense of be capable of danger if need be. Like Machiavelli once said, it's better to be feared than loved. And just to not contradict myself with that quote, have you ever been around a person, and maybe it was your dad or brother or a friend, who you knew was capable of being dangerous? And maybe you would watch what you would say around him and maybe not crack that joke that could potentially make him mad because he had an aura about him and you kind of knew to be respectful around him. And if you've never been around someone like this, I'll give you an example of someone you may know, or two people you may know. Mike Tyson or Conor McGregor. Ask yourself, would those two guys take any amount of disrespect from anybody? The answer is no. And if you want that same respect or that same aura about you, it's important to be a controlled but dangerous man nonetheless. Obviously, people will respect you if they know what you're capable of, because majority of civilization is very timid and scared of even the idea of violence. You'll have honor and nobility because what you see in a fight gym every day prepares you for the worst case scenario in everyday life. You'll be unshakable and good under the pressure of life, because there's nothing like the pressure of having hand-to-hand combat with another man, because one wrong move and you can get seriously hurt. And the last thing is just having a certain posture when you walk into a room. Knowing that you're capable of protecting yourself or loved ones if need be, you can almost operate at a level of peace instead of a constant anxiety if something is to ever go wrong. Now let's move on to how to become dangerous. Obviously, training a martial art is going to be the best way to do so, whether it's jiu-jitsu, boxing, kickboxing, or Muay Thai, but you're just gonna have to bite the bullet. You're probably gonna suck in the beginning just like everybody else does. Now for this next one, don't take me literal when I say surround yourself with dangerous people. I don't mean the type of person that would do something to get themselves put on the news, but more so people that you know who do martial arts, or befriend the people at the gym that you're training your martial art at, because they will hold you accountable. And plus, it's nice to have a bunch of trained martial artists having your back if you ever get into a jam. You can do other hard things that will callous your mind, like going on long runs or getting into the cold plunges, because like I touched on before, deliberately doing hard things makes everyday life not seem as bad. And the last two things are going to take some time to work on, but it's something that you can do today. And that's going to be learning how to control your emotions and being the quietest one in the room. And they go hand in hand. And like the saying, all bark, no bite goes, most of the time the guy screaming and cussing and trying to make himself look tough knows deep down inside that he's actually scared and really not capable of being dangerous at all. And being the quietest one in the room is always a good strategy, because people can't destroy what they don't know. Being the guy that shares too much usually comes back to bite you in the ass. And before I talk about why you should become rich, I want to first preface that I'm not rich, but I do very well for myself, especially for my age, being 23 years old. But these are things that I know you will experience while being rich, because I've experienced them just at a micro level. I don't know if you've ever watched the movie The Wolf of Wall Street, and if you haven't, definitely go check it out. But Jordan Belfort in the movie says there's no nobility in poverty. And that's a true statement, because a lot of people go their whole life living paycheck to paycheck without taking any risks, and then hate on the risk takers who got rich, and then just try to dilute their success by calling them lucky, or by saying that all the rich are arrogant and greedy. But that couldn't be further from the truth. I actually believe starting at the absolute bottom of society and wanting to become wealthy for freedom to do as you please, spend more time with your family, leave a legacy for your kids and grandchildren, and making sure that if anything ever goes wrong, having the security of finances, and overall just being a provider for your loved ones, is a very hard but noble thing to accomplish, because it's literally self-sacrificing to make sure that your loved ones are taken care of. Obviously, money is the root of all evil, and I've personally seen it bring out the worst in people. But what I truly believe is, it's actually just an amplifier. So if someone's already a bad person and they get rich, they're just going to be a worse person. But the opposite is true too. If someone is a good person at heart and they become rich, they're just going to be a better person. But I just wanted to clear up the stigma about rich people. I feel like a lot of times they get a bad rap. That's my personal opinion. You can form your own opinion about them. Now, if you just decided, all right, that's it. I want to get rich so I can provide for my family. This is how we're going to do it. We're going to learn one high value skill, preferably sales, because this is a known thing that every entrepreneur understands. Because to some degree or another, every business uses sales. And sales is used in everyday life, believe it or not. Like that one girl you think is super pretty, you have to sell her on why she should go out on a date with you. And you should always try to lean on mentors, especially people who have done exactly what you want to do. Just make sure that they're qualified enough to be able to help you and help you get to where you want to go. And another thing that you can do for absolutely free, the next time you're around a person who you'd like to trade places with financially, be a sponge and ask a ton of questions. Be a student rather than trying to be the teacher. And I feel like this next thing is an overlooked part of trying to become financially free, and that's building a team of loyal people. The kind of people that always have your best interest at heart. I surround myself with the type of people who I would trust with all my finances, and not just my finances, but truthfully with my life. Now for this next one, it isn't what you think. I don't mean become obsessed with money, but I mean becoming obsessed with your craft and making sure there's no holes in the bucket of your business, and that you have all the correct systems in place to be able to generate you a lot of money. And last but not least, just never give up. Getting rich is not easy, and if it was, everybody would do it. And the reason why I have this picture of Sisyphus pushing the rock up the hill is because that's a lot like the financial freedom journey. It's really hard and it looks like there's no end sometimes. You're gonna get pushed back down the hill, but if you just keep pushing with your head down, you'll eventually be exactly where you wanna be. I hope you guys like this style of video. Like I said, it's a little bit different. And if I get good feedback, I may do more of these in the future. I feel like it's easier to break down plans and goals when it's written down in front of you. And if you guys haven't noticed, we're almost at 150 subscribers. So if you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do so. And also check out my last video if you're struggling with motivation. As always, hit that like button, hit that bell icon so you never miss one of my uploads. I appreciate you guys tuning back in. I'll see you next week. Peace.